Alrighty. How you doing? What's Gucci, people? Hopefully you're having a fantastic day.
I know you're having a fantastic day.
It's a Tuesday for us. It's a Wednesday or a Monday for you. So hopefully your day is starting off swell. I hope it is starting off absolutely swell and you're ready to have a good stream here. And, you know, we'll do our thing. We'll do our thing here. The whole point of tonight's stream is to help people who are supporting us on the Flock Fantasy website with their dynasty teams and give them direction moving forward and talking about some trades that we might make. But hopefully you are down for that and you are ready to hang out in the chat. We see Double L. Hello. We see Styles. He says whiteboard country. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Rest in peace, the Russell Wilson Denver Broncos era.
I mean, imagine trading your whole lives away and then paying him so much money.
Rough couple of years for Denver Broncos fans. Rough couple of years.
Yeah, I think they knew they had to rip the Band-Aid off, and I was like, you know what, like, it's not happening. GG's.
But it is what it is. Hey, you learn and you grow. What's up, Maddie? What's Gucci? What's up, Mad Hats? Milehouse says, I loved it. Maddie says, hey, talk about trades. My boys got me right with the trades in my league since last week's review. You love to see it.
Come on, talk it up.
Yes, we were able to help Maddie come up with this trade over here. Where is it? Where is the trade from Maddie? This is the trade we were able to help him kind of whip up. We talked about pivoting off from Waddle. Not because we don't like Waddle, because we don't believe his production meets his current dynasty value. Rashee Rice was one of our favorite pivot names. And he went and got that deal done and got Rice in a 25 first, sent away Waddle, a couple thirds and a fifth. I would do that all day in a heartbeat. I absolutely love that deal. And I'm glad for him that he was able to get that deal done. Again, he got that done because we were able to look at his team. He had the fancy hotline. It was awesome. What's up, Patrick? Hey, gents. Excited to get into the squad. You love to see it. As a Broncos fan, I'm used to pain, Lucas says, and disappointment.
I'm sorry.
Rex says, I feel like they're aiming for number one pick next year. What's up, Crime Lord? What's up, Starred? Man, I always get your name wrong. But what's up? I'm going to call you Chaff. I feel like it's easier to say Chaff.
Why not Star?
Star. Yeah, we could do Star. Star Chaff.
You don't like Star? Star.
Yeah, we can go with Star. Anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Thank you for joining us today, guys. We appreciate you. Go ahead and hit that like button. We have a like goal of 50 likes on today's stream. If you can help us get there by hitting the like button, that would be very, very kind of you. We will be looking at dynasty teams from people who are supporting us on the Flock Fantasy website with the promo code LAND. I'll put a direct link in the chat right now. If you want your dynasty team reviewed, all you need to do is go to the Flock Fantasy website, use the promo code LAND, become a Mother Flocker member. Then you go to account. Up here at the top right, you link your Discord, and then you should instantly unlock all of our premium Discord channels, including the roster submissions tab. You can see here, Mile Luke is the first one we're looking at today. He is a Mother Flocker member. Not only do you get access to a Dynasty team review, you also get access to our 2024 Rookie Report. Version 3.0 coming out March 8th. We're very excited to release version 3.0 for you. You get access to our rankings, unlimited access to the trade calculator, a roster review like we mentioned, access to all the articles, everything. Okay, so consider becoming a member, supporting the show, and you will get some sweet perks in return.
Sweet perks.
Some sweet perks. Let's have a look at Mile High's team. Now, this is not a My Fantasy League or a Sleeper League, so we won't have the same access. But we still will do our absolute best to review his team
down,
here.
Yeah, 100%.
FFPC, single quarterback dynasty, PPR tight end premium. So we got one quarterback dynasty, tight end premium, and is Mile High in the chat? I'm pretty sure he is. It's a $250 Dynasty League. Already moved up a spot from the 103, dealing the 204 to get the 102. This team was an orphan I picked up last year and did some good adding Gibbs and Puka last year, moving some guys and get some draft capital that has me here. Not sure how to get access to the league so you can see the other teams. Yeah, we only can do that if you're in a sleeper league,
unfortunately, yeah.
or in a My Fantasy League. He says really targeting neighbors here and possibly trying to shake a bit from the 106 and get Bowers. What are your thoughts on possible paths forward? One more SuperFlex team from me coming. Keep in mind, guys, you only get one of your teams reviewed. We can have a look at this SuperFlex league if you want, Mile High, in the DMs over on the Fantasy Hotline. But everyone gets one team. The reason being, if we just let everyone have unlimited teams, we would never stop doing Dynasty team reviews at any point ever. So just keep that in mind. We will look at this first one unless you have a preference. But that second one, feel free. Chuck that in the Fantasy Hotline as a DM, and we will totally be happy to give you some feedback there. But let's have a look at this one quarterback team, assuming that's the one he wants us to look at. This is the roster that we're looking at the moment. Let's have a look here. Remember, one quarterback. What do we think? Let's break this one down.
Quarterbacks, you have Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. So, look, I would just say you are perfectly fine at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson is a decent backup. Mahomes is always going to be your starter there. At the running back position, so you set and forget, by the way, at that quarterback position. So you're absolutely fine. The running back position, Jet McKinnon, Jeff Wilson, Joshua Kelly, Hassan Haskins, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Deneric Prince. So there is a lot more room to grow here with only having Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't see another pathway for another running back to be your RB2. So maybe this is something that you could potentially try and build off of in your in your draft potentially.
We should ask what your starting lineup looks like. Is it a start 8? Can you just say one quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, couple flex? What's the lineup for you? He says short bench and only starting 8. So I'm assuming that would be 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers. That is 5. 1 tight end. That's 6, and then 2 flexes.
Yeah,
that's what I'm assuming.
Wide receiver.
So we do obviously need to improve RB2. That is definitely a huge need of the team. There's really, like you mentioned, Badaki, no other name. But we'll take a note of that as we go forward.
Yeah, at the wide receiver position, looking at it here: Puka, A.T. Perry, Justin Ross, Van Jefferson, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Lockett, Mike Williams, Curtis Samuel, Zay Jones, and Noah Brown. Another really weak wide receiver room. I would say Puka is there, which is great. But there is hope because you do have the 102. Looks like you could be getting Puka and Malik Neighbors, which automatically changes this offense, I would say. And at the 106, I know you kind of asked that question, like if you should go for Brock Bowers.
Is it tight end premium? Do we know that?
It is tight end premium. He's a tight end premium. Luke, if you could put in what is the premium in the chat as well, so we can understand. Because if this is a full-blown premium, I might be wanting to move up to get Brock Bowers unless it's too much of a price. If not, at the 106, I think I might be okay getting. So at the 106, who is that going to be? Marvin, Malik,
I doubt Rome. Bowers is there.
Yeah.
1.5 tight end premium.
So what are the top 6? Who's 106 and a 1 quarterback here?
So when I look at my rankings, the 106 would be
Let me pull up
Franklin, McConkey, Mitchell, Worthy. Those are the kind of names. I think you could even consider a Benson in his situation, or
depending
Brooks,
on the draft
depending on the draft capital. If Benson or Brooks goes round 2, I think this is definitely a team that you could pull the trigger at the 106 for. But yeah, it's kind of you also need wide receiver help. So if it's Franklin, if it's McConkey, Mitchell, Worthy, Benson, Brooks, then I think you're in a good spot. But I just don't see Bowers falling in a tight end premium to the 106.
Yeah, and look, if that is the case, and if Bowers is there, I'm taking Bowers over the Troy Franklins potentially over over those guys since the premium is going to be there for you. So
I'm gonna bring his picks up and we'll talk about this.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about different scenarios that he could potentially explore. Now, I have to ask, Mile High, why do you guys have 7 rounds? What's going on there? Is this the first year maybe of this Dynasty League? Because I can promise you, people will not know names after round 5. Maybe even during round 5, people will be like, I'm guessing at this point. He does have his 25 first, which is great. He hasn't gotten rid of that. We love to see that, especially if he mentioned that he's rebuilding. So that is great to see. He says because of the short bench, there are a good amount of free agents, and this draft is rookie and the free agents in the league. Okay. So at the moment, Badaki, we believe the 102 is going to be Malik Neighbors. That's the direction we'd go, correct?
Correct.
At the 106, we don't believe that Brock Bowers is going to be available. But if he is, we'll obviously consider him. I would say in order, Brock Bowers, wide receiver, running back. So that would be your Franklins of the world. Let's put this at the 106. Your Franklins, your McConkeys, your Mitchells, your Worthies, and at running back, Benson and Brooks are kind of the only names I think you and I would. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, Benson and Brooks, exactly.
But both of those, any one of these names are a big need for this team.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Any one of those names are huge needs. I don't see another pathway here. It's hard because of the teams. The only other thing I can think of, which in a one quarterback is going to be tough. And let me ask you this, Mile High, is this a 12-man Dynasty League? Because is there a team out there that doesn't have a quarterback? I'm happy to send Deshaun Watson for whatever that may be. I know you have a QB2. Like, you can probably pick up another quarterback off of waiver wires. Maybe people love
12 team
or a 12 team. Okay. I'm just thinking, what if a team has Daniel Jones and Matthew Stafford out there? What if
he says nobody is trading for Deshaun, which
is fair.
That makes sense, to be honest.
I think a lot of people don't like Deshaun either.
There is a team that he sent through, and he said this is a guy that he trades with often. The guy has Wilson, Hurts. He's got Eckler, really the only running back on note. Brian Robinson. He's got Olave, Watson. Tyreek T, Cooper. I would say that I am completely open in a one quarterback to trade back to the 108 if that guy has a desire to move up to the 106. So let's play a couple scenarios out here. We'll call that scenario 1. And this is scenario 2. So scenario 1 is you stick and pick. Scenario 2 is trade out. If we can trade the 106 for the 108 plus, then that is something I'm interested in potentially doing. Mile High says he has offered the 106 for Kincaid. Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
I'd rather stick and pick.
Yeah, I don't love that idea either.
He's also offered McBride for the 106 as well. Look, I don't mind it. I think McBride is a great get, but I'm not sure it's really what I'm looking for right now. It is a tight end premium. Look, I will say if I could, this guy clearly wants the 106. So I would prefer to trade out to the 108 because at the 108, Badaki, these questions are all going to be answered for us. Of what name do I take? What name is actually available at the 106 anyway? We'd be happy with any of these names. You trading back gets you value, and you still get one of these names anyway.
Yeah.
So let's see what picks that guy has that other team. He has a 108, he has a 209, the 303, the 408, the 409. I wonder if we can get like the 108 and the 109 and send the 106 and the 203. What would you feel about a trade like that? So we send
the depth. I think it makes
the
sense.
106 and the 203. We get the 108 plus the 109.
Yeah, I don't mind that. 108, 109. I mean, 108, you hopefully to get 2 wide receivers, maybe a wide receiver and a running back. You still get Malik Neighbors there as well.
At the 102, yeah.
At the 102 there. And once again, that list continues to grow. And look, you could potentially pivot back even further if somebody doesn't have a quarterback. You know, I'm a big advocate in a 1 quarterback league that if you don't have one of those top 10 picks, and like I said, if someone has Matthew Stafford, Daniel Jones, and they really want, you know, Caleb Williams at the 108, if he is available at that point, what more can you get from that guy? And continue to tier back, because those quarterbacks are going to fall. What if he has a Baker Mayfield and a Kirk Cousins? Do they want to just solidify their quarterback room by getting one of those? So I do like this trade. I like this scenario. I think this makes sense here to tier back.
Trying to acquire T. Higgins as well, or Christian Watson, because we can definitely improve this starting lineup. And I don't think this team is really ready to compete straight away. It depends on what running back you get and what that running back does, but your wide receiver room is pretty weak. So I wonder if we can send the 106 and get the 108. Can we somehow finesse a Higgins or a Watson in here? Watson's going to be cheaper. Higgins is going to be more expensive, but can you send the 106 and the 203, for example, here? Would you do that, Badaki? The 106 and the 203 for the 108 and Higgins? I like that deal.
106 and 208 for Higgins and Watson. 108 and Higgins. Yeah, I think I'm not in love. Well, I guess that's somebody that he has, this person. So yeah, I guess I would do T. Higgins. Not that I'm not in love with T. Higgins. It's just I think I want to get somebody else within that T. Higgins range, if that makes sense. So I am happy to get him if that is who is available.
You only got so many trade partners in the first round,
that's,
though.
Yeah, that's the problem there. That is.
Why don't you like T. Higgins now?
That's not that I don't like him. I'm just thinking in that group that T. Higgins is in, I would prefer the other players.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Like I still believe he's there. Like he's somebody that I would like to have. I just think in that tier group, I would rather have those guys.
Okay. I don't mind these deals at all. Again, I think you're getting people to answer these questions for you. They're making the decisions ahead of you, and you're picking up value. If it were to be Watson, I actually think you can ask for more. I think you can ask for the 108 Watson, and does he have a second? He has the, what does he have? The 211 was it? I'm trying to remember. He has a 209.
209.
So with the strengths of this class and how weak your team is at wide receiver, I would be totally fine to do the 106, give me the 108, the 209, and Christian Watson. I think Watson's a fine buy low right now. We've seen him perform. He's got good quarterback play. He just can't stay healthy. So I think all 3 of these deals, I would personally pull the trigger on if they were given to me by that name that you mentioned. Now, I don't really want to do like the 106 for one player. I want to trade back and get value in return. That's what I'm trying to do with this pick if I'm moving it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. I'm not saying he should do this, but what if he got a haul in some way for Patrick Mahomes? I know it's one quarterback, but what if that name was Kyler? What if that name was Jordan Love? What if that name was Dak Prescott? Plus.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
Because, look, I love Patrick Mahomes. I think in a one quarterback is probably one of the best quarterbacks you could potentially have. But once again, all depending on that trade partner. Let's
let's talk about the names then that you would pivot. And I'm assuming you're pivoting and trying to get a future first, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Plus 2025 first, for example. So what are some names? And again, you want to pivot if you're in a rebuild. So let's talk about what names you pivot to.
I'm thinking of young players: Kyler Murray, Jordan Love.
Fine with that.
What about? I would even throw Trevor Lawrence in there. I don't think he will.
I'm fine with that, but
you could do Brock Purdy. I say Dak Prescott is somebody if you're in more in a win now situation, but I think that's tough.
Probably Dak won't fit this team.
Yeah.
I'd also throw in a couple other names, like Anthony Richardson, as well. I think
that just gets too close because I think people value Anthony Richardson. I would say maybe as close as not too far off as Patrick.
Yeah, I'm just adding names that I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I'd also throw in Justin Fields there as well. I think you can afford to take the risk on of what his future looks like in a one quarterback format. Mile High says, "Come on now, Mahomes is my guy. I won't trade him." Look, you can't play with your heart. If you actually want to improve this team, if any of these deals are doable that we just discussed, this is going to improve your dynasty team. I know you love Patrick Mahomes. Who doesn't? But the smarter move is, how can I get as much future draft capital? How can I maximize the value of my team? So if you're going to get Kyler, like, let me highlight no-brainers for me, at least. These ones here, if you get these guys in a first, no-brainer, smash accept. Kyler, Love, Richardson in a 25 first. You don't think about it. You take it. You move on. I know we love Patrick Mahomes, but I promise you in 2025, when you're trying to build around this team, you're going to thank yourself for adding draft capital. And still having very good names, by the way. Miles says, do you feel like Mahomes' value is about as low as it will ever be? Honestly, he's going to destroy the league next year.
I don't think he will because of that. Because he's Patrick Mahomes.
He's still the quarterback 2 in Dynasty football. So there is still room for him to fall. He has the name brand. I'm not concerned about having him. We're just using it. It's the same thing when we tell people to pivot off Olave, to pivot off of Waddle. Names that we love, but they're these big names that can get you a lot in return. Styles here says, didn't want to trade Mahomes in the league that I had him, but traded him for Kyler, Andrews, and a 26 first, and still think it's a great trade. Exactly. That's a SuperFlex league, I'm sure, but you gotta find every way to maximize value in trades and pivots with the team that you have here that you've given us. You got some work to do.
Yeah, and you're not gonna. Respectfully, it doesn't look like you're gonna be competing anytime soon because of your depth just not there. If you tell me you had the wide receiver room and you had really strong wide receivers and you just needed a running back, that's a whole different scenario. You just need a running back and a tight end. That's a whole different scenario. But you need tight end, wide receivers, and running backs. So one running back, I would say another 4 wide receivers and tight ends, right? So there's definitely a couple different angles that you can go there, Mile High. So
he sent a different team in the chat as well. This guy has Anthony Richardson. He's got Tank Dell. I like Tank Dell. But the issue is there's no natural pivot. I'm not trading up to the 103. We're not trying to give assets to trade up with your team. We're not trying to do that because we need to hit on the 2024 draft. So that team isn't a good natural trade up. What I will say, if names like Collins, JSN, Flowers, Dell are available, team 3, I guess we'll call this. Right? So if you can trade from the 106, this is the issue. You're going to have to trade out of the first to the 202. Can you add a name like Zay Flowers, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, JSN? That's the kind of trade we're looking at. And actually, I would ask for the 204, and I would send the 106, and what else do we have? You don't really have a good range, but the 203, at least that puts you in one spot better. You know what I mean? Oh, wait, never mind. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
So that's not really. Not sure. This guy's not a natural trade, unfortunately, but.
No, but I mean, one of those names that you mentioned was Anthony Richardson. Can you get Anthony Richardson and something?
Yeah, can you get Mahomes? His 25 first and A-Rich? Yeah. We do that.
So I just think it just all depends on what these other teams are valuing some of these players as, because I think a lot of people like to see Patrick Mahomes and they raise their eyebrows just like you did, right? And you're saying, well, dang, if somebody's out there willing to give you a whole Patrick Mahomes, I'm willing to listen, especially as a team like this, right? So
Sharps and Warren as well, you could add into this deal with these names. Since you're moving so far back, Sharps, Warren, both great names to add with one of those names. So that's quite a few options for you there. I hope that is helpful.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Definitely use your hotline, by the way, as well.
But Aki, are we on the same page? This team is we want to trade down. We want to see what we can get from Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett, Cortland Sutton. Those names aren't going to give you much value right now, but wait until end season and see what you can get for those names. Mm-hmm. And then we want to try and trade down and get as many assets in the future as possible, because right now we don't see this team competing.
Yeah, I would agree there. And look, there's hope for some of these players. I mean, we hear Marvin Mims' name all the time.
He's a keep.
He's a keep. But I think everyone at the running back position, I don't see a pathway for them outside of Jahmyr Gibbs. And the only position I see that still has value at the wide receiver position is Marvin Mims, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Lockett, Mike Williams. I would even throw Curtis Samuel in there if he finds the right role. I mean, you can even throw Zay Jones if you wanted to in there if he stays with the or he's going to be with the Jags. And what if they don't bring in another wide receiver because they like Zay Jones?
Yeah,
hypothetically. Anyways.
Yeah, now is not the right time to sell those names, because you say, what would you move them for? Nobody's giving anything more than fourths. They will in season when those guys are producing. Right now, if the best you can get is fourth, your best move is to hold and see what you can get in season. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't move those guys right now. Wait until in season when Tyler Lockett puts up a 30-point game, or maybe he's cut and he's on a different team. If Mike Williams has a big game, Cortland Sutton, you could your target should be a second for Cortland Sutton in season. Totally in a one quarterback format. Yeah. Late second is fine, but now is not the right time to move those names. But hey, you could also package a bunch of those guys for a second. If you package Mike Williams and Tyler Lockett for a second, great. So you want to target contenders in season who are competing and need, guys like that. But let us know if you have any final questions, Mile High. Keep in mind we can't do both teams because everyone gets one team review. But if you do want us to look at that second team, just send it in that fantasy hotline, that DM that we set up for you. We'd be happy to give some feedback after the stream. Let us know if you have any final questions. We are going to move on to the next team. But just before we do, if you guys are watching this video and you're thinking, how do I get my team broken down like Mile High just got? How do I get that experience for myself? Quite simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I'll put a direct link in the chat. Again, have to be a Mother Flocker member, have to use the code LAND. Once you sign up, go to account, link your Discord, and you should unlock all of the premium Discord channels that we offer, including the roster submissions tab. You also get access to our 2024 rookie report. Version 3 is dropping on Friday, March 8th. Yeah. We're very excited about that update. New features, new profiles added, and obviously combine testing has happened as well. So we will move on to Patty Pickles here. Is Patty Pickles in the chat?
Patty Pickles. Pickle Patty. Bit of pipe, big pepper. Let's see if he's in the chat here.
Let's see if he's in the chat. We got a sleeper ID, so we can use this little database here. Patrick says, I'm here, fellas. You love to see
here
it.
We go.
We appreciate y'all, everyone who we are reviewing tonight. They are supporters of us on the Flock Fantasy website with the promo code LAND. We do see some questions in the chat. Unfortunately, today's not a Q&A, guys. It's really just focusing on those people who are supporting us. Hopefully y'all understand that, and you're cool with that. But let's take it away.
Yeah, Patty says, "Hey fellas, appreciate all the content you guys provide. We appreciate you. League context. Yeah, 12 team SuperFlex, half tight end premium, 6 point per passing start, 9. Okay. Okay, a lot of context. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, flex, SuperFlex, 13 bench spots, and 3 taxis." Says, "I finished defeated last year, 0-14 in the first season after the startup. First of all, um,
I finished
hey,
defeated is such a funny way to say it too.
yeah, 0-14.
I
That's okay."
lost a lot of games.
Went really young in the draft and made some moves in season to get some draft capital and beef up the QB room. The league does a draft lottery to determine the picks for the bottom 6 teams, and my pick became the 104.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not bad. However, I also secured the 103 pick in season from a team who was trying to compete. Didn't work out. Obviously, you'd love to see that as well. That's
W.
happened still.
Big W.
Multiple, 100%. Need some guidance on what's next. I also have some ideas of what I like to do. However, I'm also not opposed to moving one of those top picks to secure a cornerstone piece. Notable trades, which,
Remember, this is a super flex,
yeah,
12 team, half tight end premium, start 9, 6-point touchdown.
yeah. So you traded. Let's go through these trades really quick. Traded Justin Fields, Ayuk, and Jerry Jeudy, and a later first for Hurts, Najee, Sky, and a mid 25-second. Off the bat, without the context of your team.
I don't mind this deal because I feel, even though I'm not a Hurts guy, he has that long-term contract.
Yes, I just feel like it might be two Fields, Ayuk, and a first for Hurts.
Yeah, that does
And
feel a
not-
little bit much. I'm not going to lie, actually.
And not too much of a return of those second tier guys with the Najee's. This guy, like Sky, feels like
He's a dead asset at this point.
yeah, he's a dead asset. So at the moment, without the context, I'm not in love with it. We'll wait and see. You move Jalen Warren in an early 24 second for what became the 103.
There you go.
That's
a
a
dub.
perfect trade. Move Najee in a mid to late 25 second for a mid to late 25
Okay.
first. Phenomenal.
So let's take that into context now with this trade. You traded Fields, Ayuk, Jeudy in a late first for Hurts, a 25 first. For Hurts and a 25 first, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's more even.
Yeah, it's more even for sure. And the last one says picked up a bunch of backup quarterbacks and running backs off of waiver wire and was able to secure seconds and thirds for 2024 and 2025. All right, well, let's have a look at this team now. Team is the Dynasty football team, a classic. And you're second in the rankings.
Yep, 91 out
Surprisingly.
of 100.
Yeah, which is great here. So let's have a look at your team. Quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson, Aiden O'Connell. I mean, that's a phenomenal quarterback room already. You want to set and forget that. Aiden O'Connell also has the upside if the Raiders don't get a quarterback. So I think you're fine at the quarterback room. You set and forget those guys. Once again, Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson are your
I'd like
go-to.
to add a third guy I really trust. I like Aiden more as a quarterback 4, upside, low risk type ad. But we'll talk about that. We have picks to do that.
Okay. So I thought you meant like the fourth quarterback here. Anyways, running back room: Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and the list kind of goes on there. It is rough at the running back room. Charbonnet has some bright upside, at least you hope, with this new head coaching staff with the Seahawks there. But at the moment, it doesn't really feel too strong when you think of the quarterback room. But that's okay. You hope that the wide receiver room is decent. It looks like it is a 3 wide receiver and a flex. So start 4 wide receivers you can potentially do. And those 4 wide receivers.
We have that right. Yeah, you're right. 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. Okay.
Yeah, so Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jaden Reed, Jameson Williams, Demario Douglas, Wandale Robinson there. So, and I think this is where potentially IU could have played a huge part of this draft, but the draft capital is there still. So I don't think it's necessarily terrible.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not liking the Fields trade more and more.
Yeah, once with the context there. But I mean, I think it could help itself with the picks that he has.
The losing Ayuk is huge.
Yeah, in this context for sure.
And a late first. I'm not sure in hindsight I really like that deal looking at the squad.
And then tight end you have Kyle Pitts here. So
and Pat. Don't forget Pat.
Oh yeah, Pat. I mean, we love Pat. Pat the Dragon. Shout out to Pat the Dragon. Bring him back.
He died when Kenny Pickett was born.
I mean, yeah, he did.
Remember that first year with Big Ben? That was fun.
Okay,
so there is some work to do. I'll say that. There's definitely some work to do. Our running back room is non-existent. Let's be honest. Our wide receiver room has names we like, but no clear number one right now. And even our tight end room, I'm comfortable with Kyle Pitts, especially with this team. You can wait on Kyle to develop. You can wait on him to be that dude. I don't think you're competing straight away. And in fact, I am like somewhat interested. We won't like dive into this just yet. I'm somewhat interested in moving Jalen Hurts personally. Like this team, what I'm looking at, I am interested in acquiring a wide receiver I really love and a ton of draft capital. Like, if I can get like an Ayuk level player and a top 5 pick in this class, or Ayuk and 225 firsts, like that level of player. Let me talk about some other names as well. Ayuk, Waddle, Pittman, Rice, Dell, Addison, multiple Nico, 2, 3 first round picks, those kind of deals I'm interested in. But anyway, we won't talk about that right now. Just something to look at later. The good news is we do have a good amount of draft capital here to improve this team. So let's go to the whiteboard, shall we?
Yeah, whiteboard it up, get it out. Maybe you should buy an actual whiteboard and then start writing shit down.
Have like a, I think we can technically buy like a pad where we can write on it, but
and like you connect it. Yeah, that's good. If you want like actually write. Yeah, I mean, do it.
It might look worse though, because then we're relying on my. You got a lot of seconds. Look at that. You got a lot of seconds coming up. That's great. You have 225 first, which is great. One of those 25 first is from Colt Kid. Where's Colt Kid? Who is
Colt
that?
Kid. Colt Kid. Team 7.
Well, that team is going to compete this year.
Okay. I think there's a couple different pathways you can go here.
Let's start with the picks.
Yeah.
Let's say we stick and pick. What are you thinking at the 103, 104? I have a clear path in my head, but I want to see what you're thinking.
Well, 103, 104, that can be depending on how it goes. Depending who has a 10, maybe we should get that context first.
Okay.
Because depending on what the 102 has, 102 is big old TDs. He has Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson. That feels like a quarterback.
Well, he also only has Smith, Addison, Dell. That's a good room, but I don't think it would stop him from going Marvin.
And then Goodfellas has the 101 who has Justin Herbert and Brock Purdy. So
I think it's safe to say that probably Marvin and Caleb are gone.
Yeah, I would think so there as well. So I would say Malik Neighbors is most likely the play at the 103.
That's what I was thinking. And then
a quarterback, whichever one. It doesn't matter the order because you have the 103, 104, Jaden Daniels or Drake May, which Patrick put it in the chat. Mm-hmm. And he says, Marvin Harrison and Caleb going 1 and 2. And he said Neighbors, May / Daniels. So I think that is a perfect start right there if you were to get either one of those guys.
Let's play that out just before we look at the second round. If you were to stick and pick, and these were the picks that were made, all of a sudden you've got 3 quarterbacks you love, and that gives you flexibility in season to move off of one of these names if you wanted. Let's say Aiden actually becomes a starter, and he's a decent starter. That gives you flexibility to use May, Daniels, Richardson, or Hurts, and trade them in a SuperFlex league to get value elsewhere and build around your squad. But let's just play this out. Hurts, Richardson, May, or Daniels, that's a strong core. Running back room hasn't improved, but at wide receiver, now you have a true number 1. In Neighbors, JSN could break out. You got Reed, Jamison Williams. There's at least 4 names that we like / love. Who knows what happens with Douglas or Wandale or Burks. And then Pitts. So you have really good foundational pieces just with those 2 moves. But obviously, we're not the deepest team out there right now. We're relying on these draft picks to hit at the 103 and the 104.
Yeah, agreed.
What would you do at the 204 then?
204 it's either I say best player available. That can be a wide receiver. That can be a running back. 204, I feel like is a sweet spot at the moment for one of those running backs. They might fall, they might not, but I mean the list goes on, right? You think of the Jonathan Brooks, the Trey Bensons. You think of, well, now that this whole thing changed, the Roman Wilsons, the Malachi Corley, Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
You can even throw Jalen Wright in there if he does get the draft capital. Jermaine Burton, Xavier Leggett. I feel like Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy are no longer part of that tier anymore. Your guy, Jalen McMillan.
Yeah.
So all those guys are most likely available in that 204 area. And you continue to go best player available at the 302. Once again, one of those guys can fall at the 302. Is that a Bucky Irving now, who we still like, that didn't have the best draft cap or didn't have the best 40 time? A Jalen Polk, who I'm starting to really like as well. Just all depends on who is that going to be in that second tier, guys, when it comes down to best player available at the 204 and the 203. And continues at the 311 there.
And I would say this is a team that, while it has clear needs at running back, I wouldn't force it. Like, for example, if Braylon Allen's on the board, but I got a Jalen McMillan there, a Roman Wilson, one of those names that we like, Xavier Leggett or whatever, I'd probably still go BPA, which for me would be one of those wide receivers. Yeah. But yeah, I would say like you're in a position where your wide receiver room isn't bad, but it's not to the point where you can't add with these late picks. True BPA. And BPA, you'll find out what that will be for us when the draft finishes, because that will be in our rookie report. You'll be able to see our rankings. Whatever is the best player available in our rankings would be the BPA for us. Yeah. But there is a scenario where we can trade back. It's very limited, though. Would you agree, Badaki, that we want to stay in the top 5 here? So the only pivot is to the 5.
Well, he has an opportunity. Sorry. Before we pivot, go back to the stick and pick. He has also had the opportunity to go Brock Bowers with that tight end premium if you wanted.
Okay. Yeah.
Just FYI. But I know you have Kyle Pitts. You don't have to do it with Kyle Pitts. Do you stay with Kyle? What if Brock Bowers goes to the Bengals and Justin Fields goes to Atlanta? You can kind of maneuver it however way you want it to there. But anyway, it's just another thought process before we move on. But yes, pivoting
to the 105. I don't want to use the 103, but if I can use the 104, and we're trying to get to the 105, make that guy make the decision for you. So let's talk about what that trade could look like. And I'll be honest with you, the most likely scenario is that this trade isn't possible, because if someone were to approach me about moving up to the 105, I would say, I don't care. I'll stay at the 105 and take whatever I can get. The point I'm trying to make is we feel the same way. So what can we get? So let's talk about that. What can we get? I'm thinking like any second round pick in 2024, 2025. That's fine. I would take that. I assume you would as well. Mm-hmm. We can talk about running backs in that range. Who has the 105?
Team 1.
So Rashawn Johnson. Would you move back for Rashawn Johnson?
I don't think I would.
You wouldn't?
I don't think I would.
I would, because again, I think the 104 and the 105 I value just the same. I don't value them any differently, so I'm viewing Rashawn Johnson as a free pickup there. I don't think the other running backs on his team are doable, but of course, if you can get Pacheco or Javonte, then you do that in a heartbeat. I just think Rashawn is actually the realistic name there when I look at that team.
Okay.
And again, for me, I would value the 104 and the 105 exactly the same. At wide receiver, he's not going to give you any of these names to move back one spot. But we could also look at trying to sneak our way into the 108. So how about a deal like this? I receive the 105 and the 108. I send the 104 and my early second, which is the 204. That is another deal that I would be happy to grab personally. How would you feel about that?
not sure if he would want to move back from the 204.
I doubt he would, but how would you feel if he did?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm 100% happy with that. If that's somehow you can get done, sure. I'm definitely doing that. Once again, one spot back and you go into the first. That's exactly that can change your draft right there, right then.
100% agree. Any other options you want to talk about there?
No, not in this scenario.
Okay.
I think the biggest scenario that I think we should get into here is the pivoting of one of these quarterbacks.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you get Malik Neighbors, you get Drake May, Jaden Daniels. I know you want to pivot off of Jalen Hurts. I think for me, I want to pivot off of Anthony Richardson.
I don't care. I'd pivot off of whatever gives me the most return.
Yeah, and I'm happy. You know what? I would agree there. Obviously, I bought that pivot off of Anthony Richardson because of how much value you could potentially get so far at the moment. And there's obviously concerns. You know, this offensive line is not going to be the same. Jason Kelce just retired. Are they going to take away the tush push with Jalen Hurts? What does that look like? But Anthony Richardson, I think, is a phenomenal person you can trade away. Normally valued as 2, nearly to 3 first, depending on your team, depending on the player. But there's so many different ways that you can go here when you think of Anthony Richardson.
Let's find quarterback needy teams then.
Team 9, I think, is the perfect one. Mike.
Okay.
He has Jordan Love, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson. I feel like he's pretty needy. I feel like he can trade away somebody here. You know, can I get Garrett Wilson and then?
That's a tough one.
Ooh, this is actually
Wilson
a tough one.
Love
not
is
thinking
too
about
much
it.
to ask for.
Yeah. Now thinking about it, I was thinking, like, what if you don't even get a quarterback in return though?
So you're saying Garrett Wilson?
I'm thinking Garrett Wilson
plus what? Because there's no good capital that we.
There's no good capital here. I mean, what if it's a running back? Is Etienne? I don't know if I want to do it for Etienne though.
Not with this current team build.
Yeah, not with this team then. So maybe not that team is the best, but he is definitely quarterback needy.
I'd say, look, if you could do something, this is how I would structure it. I would structure it Jordan Love plus Garrett Wilson. And I would have to give you something. I'd have to give you Richardson, Hurts, and like the 203, for example. Is it the 204 that he has?
Let me see.
Does he have the 204?
Yes, he does.
So I just think the structure of it would be a little bit different. I receive Jordan Love. I receive Garrett Wilson. You receive... Who is more valuable here? Is it Hurts? I think it is Hurts.
Yeah,
it's Hurts.
Hurts would be...
And the 204. And look, is this accepted? Maybe not, but that's not the point of this stream. The point is to give you as many options as you can. And this gets you in the door. If they're at all interested, and this is a type of deal that you can wiggle your way around, feel free to send us a DM on the hotline and say, hey, they countered with this. It's a little bit different. Maybe they're asking for too much. Maybe we find a happy place. Sorry, go ahead.
Team 3 is also in quarterback needy position as well.
Yep.
Quincy.
Yep.
He has Jamar Chase, Puka, Breece Hall is also somebody that's very interesting there. Sam Laporta. I think if I can get any of those names in some sort of deal, I'll be interested. You know, can I get a Jamar Chase? I'll send you Anthony Richardson, the 110 and something. James Cook. I don't know. Is that too much for Jalen Hurts or Anthony Richardson?
Well, he doesn't have James Cook though.
Team 3 has James Cook.
Sorry. You said you would send James Cook. What was the structure of that deal? Sorry.
So it was sending either obviously one of those quarterbacks to then get a Jamar Chase or Puka in the 110.
Okay, right. Yeah, I like that.
If that's not enough, if that's not enough, then do you send the 204 to get a James Cook, which I doubt you can get, right? He has 3 running backs. Like, you probably need a running back to kind of build off of. Maybe that's something I would be interested in.
Yeah, that's a cool structure for sure. I love that. Depends on how people value those names.
Patrick says, playing with a bunch of guys who never played Dynasty or even a SuperFlex league, they don't know how to value quarterbacks. I've been shopping Hurts and not getting any real value. 8 to 12 are new to Dynasty. That is definitely tough when these guys don't value quarterbacks, especially this past year where these quarterbacks were injured. and some of these starting guys weren't starting, and in a SuperFlex league, they were losing.
Hey, if they're new to Dynasty, they're probably going to learn more as they go. And I guarantee you, in season, when A-Rich and Hurts are putting up ridiculous fantasy points, they'll look a lot more attractive to people than they will now. You know, so you don't have to make these moves right here, right now. Just keep that in mind that you've got time. You got time to, in season. We don't expect you to compete, but if an offer comes in for Hurts, for A-Rich, that you can accept, great. If you can't trade them away now. I would say, though, Badaki, that I really wish we could reverse that Fields Ayuk trade now.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's the kind of trade we're actually looking to get now.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is there. I wonder who his quarterback was. Probably just Anthony Richardson and Aiden O'Connell there. And I wonder if he did. And I wonder if he did that trade before knowing that he got the 103 and the 104. Because if he knew he had that, he probably wouldn't have made that trade for Jalen Hurts there.
Not a bad team. I mean, you are, in my opinion, the running backs. This is why the 25 draft will be important for you. If you can hit on some running backs, you'll be starting to hit your stride. But that's why I feel like the quarterback pivot is so important, because these picks will help, but a quarterback pivot could put us in a real position in 2025 to start competing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good team, though. Good assets.
Use your fantasy hotline there, Patrick.
Let us know if you have any final questions. Because, of course, we are here. It's your time to shine. So let us know if you have any questions. Just saw Mad Hats put his team in the chat. You love to see it. I'll add him as a friend, and we'll have a look at his team, I'm sure, in a later stream. But who was next as I'm looking here? Next was Nefarious. And here's Nefarious. But let's see. I think we have a comment here in the chat. Patrick says, hated to lose Ayuk, pulled the trigger when Hurts was valued as a top 2 to 3 quarterback, and I wanted to secure a top guy. Pat says, no questions. Guys, thanks for taking the time. No worries.
No worries. And we appreciate you, man.
Like we mentioned, feel free to use your hotline. Look, don't like think about that trade often and like with regret or anything. It's just, Badaki's made trades he regrets. I make trades I've regretted.
1,000%.
It's all about like, okay, what did I do? Okay, how do I operate in this league better?
Exactly. And then you figure out different ways. And like you said, the longer these guys play, the more they'll understand and value Dynasty. So hopefully that helps, man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Use your fantasy hotline. That's why we're there. If any trades comes through, any trades that you send it through. We'll definitely have a conversation, but appreciate you there.
Hey, our like goal is 50 likes. We are 14 away. So do us a favor, guys. Hit that like button if you have yet to do so. But we are about to look at Nefarious's team. That sounds like a badass name.
It is a badass name. That's why. I'll go here with the context here. He said, what's up, guys?
Hold on. I just want to see what that name even means.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what Nefarious means?
No. It's
Nefarious means extremely wicked or villainous.
Oh, I mean, we can't trust this guy. That's what it sounds like.
No, I mean this guy is the Thanos of his league. Hopefully, this is Nefarious. I want to work that into my vocabulary somehow.
Is Michael? Are you Nefarious? Let us know. Nefarious, are you in the chat?
We will look at Michael's team, but I just want to let anyone know who's watching the stream. If you want your team reviewed by us on a live stream, all you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member on the Flock Fantasy website using the promo code LAND. Once you have become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND, link your Discord in the account at the top right, and then you should be able to access our premium Discord channels, including the roster submissions tab. Keep in mind, if you don't skip the free trial, you just have to wait a week, but there is an option to skip it. But yes, Michael is Nefarious, which is great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. We'll get straight into this context then. He said, what's up, fellas? Pumped to finally be here, be able to join. We appreciate you. Team name Sunday Night Watch.
Okay.
League format, 10 team, 1 quarterback, start 8. No tight end premium, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. So you can start 4 wide receivers.
You know what that means, Wadaki.
Mm-hmm.
We do not care about depth. We'll talk about that.
Well, we'll definitely will. Finished last year, middle of the pack, had some promise and made many moves in season to cope. Draft capital. Biggest move was buying Justin Jefferson right after he got hurt. What I am looking for is the best way to compete while staying semi-cautious, as there's a few stack teams which will be hard to win it all. Just recently traded JT Warren, Hollywood Jason, and two seconds for Devonta Smith, Brees, and the 105. Massive Colts guys that took advantage of that. Okay. Then traded the 105, the 204 for the 108, the 109 Mixon. Realizing holding a lot of depth pieces isn't the ideal route, especially in a 10-man, one quarterback start. Let me know what you think and appreciate all the help and insight.
Let's talk about those trades first. I was thinking from a SuperFlex mind, but one quarterback. If I moved the 105 and the 204 for the 108, 109 of Mixon, I actually think I like that. But this other deal, he traded JT Warren, Hollywood JSN, and 2 seconds. JT Warren, Hollywood JSN, 2 seconds for Devonta Smith, Brees, and the 105. I actually like that deal in this format. You got Brees. I prefer him over JT. You got Devonta. Yeah. Would I pay JSN in 2 seconds for Devonta, though? I don't know that I would. I would, though, if it means I get the 105.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. All
right.
Let's have a look at the team here. Sunday Night Watch is his name.
We said he's probably the Thanos of his league. He is ranked first. He has a 99 out of 100 grade. And he's the only team above a 75 grade.
Okay.
According to Keep Trade Cut. And
so
for Team 10, what did you guys do to Team 10? Okay, but let's look at his team.
Team 10 is not terrible. That's not terrible. Anyways,
no, it's not terrible.
Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, one quarterback league. You set and forget. So Joe Moneybags is there. Running backs.
Does Joe Moneybags transfer over to both Joes on Cincinnati?
Now I'll give it to Joe Moneybags because Joe Moneybags Mixon is just not him anymore.
So Joe Moneybags was originally Joe Mixon, but he had a contract restructure.
And
he's no longer got the money bags. And Joe Burrow is one of the highest paid players in the league. So the title has officially transferred to Joe Moneybags Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah. I completely. Give me a second if you want to continue. Okay. I hear, baby, give me a second.
Brees Hall, Javonte Williams, Kendre Miller, those three alone, chef's kiss, beautiful. But you've got some insane depth. Chubb, Rashawn, Mixon, Ford, Herbert. There are some leagues that we review, and their RB1 is Ford and Herbert. That's your RB 7 and 8. I would be very interested in consolidating some of these names for bigger stars. We'll talk about that. At wide receiver, you have Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Smith, Deontay. It really falls off, but again, we want superstars in a 10-man start 8. So that's great. Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, you're killing it. And look at the draft capital. Great team. Great team. So, clearly you're the best team in your league. Clearly you're going to compete. We'll talk about some moves that we can make to maybe improve your chances. This is the kind of team where, like, if I'm in season and it's week 6 and I need to buy Christian McCaffrey at a premium, I'm doing it to win the championship with this kind of team. You know what I mean? But let's look at your draft capital, and we will go to the whiteboard here. So we've got so many seconds in 25. We've got 4 seconds in 25. We've got 2 firsts in 2026. And we've got a good amount of draft capital in 2024. So if we were to stick and pick, remember, this is a one quarterback. So
one quarterback.
The mindset has to change. But I think Odunze's the play at the 103.
Yeah.
And if you get Odunze on your squad, remember, this is start 8. You can start 4 wide receivers at a time. So now your starting lineup is Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Devonta Smith, Odunze. That's nasty.
Yep. That's nasty.
Nasty. And you just got Deontay there as like a guy you can use as a flex option if someone bye week, injury, whatever the case may be. At the 108, let me pull up my one quarterback rankings. I definitely think we're in running back range here.
Yeah, yes. You can definitely go running back range for sure.
It's Adonai Mitchell for me. It's Xavier Worthy. It's Trey Benson. It's Jonathan Brooks. Do you have another name you put in there?
No. Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, Adonai Mitchell.
You're gonna get two of these too.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Lad McConkey potentially falls in the 108, depending on where if a tight end.
I would totally agree. The only reason I put him there is because he was ranked as my 107, but that doesn't mean everyone has him ranked there. He might fall. I like that.
Yeah, Lad McConkey could definitely see Michael said my lad. So yeah, I think this is a perfect kind of stick and pick type of scenario. 205, best player available. Maybe that's another running back. 205. That could be honestly anyone, man. That is a whole range of outcomes. You can throw the McMillans, the Walkers, the Polks, the Lloyds, Blakes, Jatavions. Like honestly, the list goes on. The Roman Wilsons, Keon Coleman, Malachi Corley. Whoever has, I guess, whoever you like at the 205, you go there and get personally here.
So that's stick and pick. And that is a totally fine route if none of these deals that we're about to talk about work out. What I would say is I'm very interested in this format in consolidation. We're looking up words today, right? So we know what nefarious means. I'm using that word correctly, right? Make something physically stronger or more solid. Combine a number of things into a more effective, coherent whole. And that I use that word perfectly. Okay? I'm super interested in consolidation. Consolidate.
No, holiday, you mean?
Yes. Well, that was the whole point of the joke.
Yeah, I know.
I would be totally fine, by the way, if we combine the 108, the 109, the 205 to go up and get the 102, for example. These are the kind of consolidating deals I'm talking about, right? And I don't know if you agree with me, Badaki. I'm going to assume that you agree with me with this kind of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to talk about all the trade options that we have at our disposal. So if you can get this deal done for just the 108 and the 109, great. If you need to add the 205, great. Again, the point of today's stream is not to tell you every deal is going to happen no matter what. It's to give you ideas. Who has the 102?
Team 4. God Turley.
God Turley. So he's got a pretty good group. He probably sticks and picks. He says guy in number 2 is 50-50. He's taking Bowers or Neighbors at 2. I think he's bluffing because he knows I want Neighbors. There's a good chance he takes Bowers. Okay. If he takes Bowers, then that's awesome because then you actually get to grab Malik Neighbors here anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if that deal is possible, great. Also, if you can do some sort of deal like that for the 101 or the 102, I don't think that's realistic. I'm just throwing it out there because I want to give him every option. I want you to open every door that you can possibly open. Also, can we package the 108, the 109, and what sort of name could we get?
That's exactly
at
what I was
the running back spot?
Can
we go out and get a Bijan or a Gibbs? I think, again, I would even add the 205 there. Would you do that in this team? I certainly would.
Gibbs, yeah.
Or who has Bijan in this league? Can we see that?
That's what I'm trying to find right now.
Gibbs is team 3.
Team 9. Ooh, excuse me. Team 9.
Team 9 has Bijan.
He doesn't have any picks in this draft, so that could be something he would want.
How about we look at Bijan here? And what if we could do something like this, Badaki? Would you send the 108 and keep the 109? Send him Javonte Williams. and the 205. Like, again, you could, the first time you try this, you could leave out the 205, see what happens. That's another offer that you could go out and try. Again, consolidation. How about we try and tier up from Devonta Smith? What sort of name would you expect the 108 plus Devonta Smith to bring you? Can you get into a Puka range? I want to know what Keep Trade Cut would say about that, actually.
That's what I'm trying to find.
What? Because this is the calculator that most people use. Let's see what Keep Trade Cut would say about this. One quarterback, you get Puka, they get Devonta Smith, and the 108. That's hilarious. Keep Trade Cut is telling you that you're getting robbed. Let's see what our calculator says when you consider all this context. Is it tied in premium?
It is tied in premium, yes.
It's 10 team, and it start 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13 bench spots. Right? I got that right?
Oh, he said no tied in premium.
No tied in premium.
No tied in premium. I thought it was.
No tied in premium. We are using my rankings here in the calculator.
Yeah, no.
And we're telling you to receive Puka. We're saying you can send away Devonta Smith and the 108. Look at that. Our calculator says you're robbing them. Because I feel like you are. What about you, Banaki?
Yeah,
it's the complete opposite of what Keep Trade Cut says.
Yeah.
What other name would you throw in there from Puka?
Yeah, well, it would just be one of those. I would try CD, Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase. I would try all those guys if I personally can to get somebody. I don't know how you feel about AJ Brown, but I think I want a solidified quarterback for the long term, right? CD, Chase, Amon-Ra, Puka.
Wide receiver, right?
Yeah, wide receiver, excuse me. Garrett Wilson. Like, I think I'm not opposed to getting Puka or Garrett Wilson, but I just know like the quarterback play could be in question longer. So if I can get a solidified wide receiver that has a solidified quarterback for the long term, I'm 100% doing that.
And by the way,
I'm not opposed to Puka and Garrett Wilson though.
These three names, Amon-Ra, Chase, and Lamb, if you need to add the 205 to get that done, not even thinking about it. I honestly would pay more than this. For Amon-Ra, Chase, or Lamb, I would pay more than that in this format.
Yeah, one quarterback.
He says, I tried for Wilson, same owner as Puka, no hits or bites, unfortunately. Try with some of these names and come a little harder, maybe, like these deals were saying. Oh, he already has Jefferson, so you could try Chase and Lamb as well. But what was your original offer for Puka then? Let us know in the chat, Michael, what your original offer for Puka was. I'm curious what that was. Again, consolidation. I don't think we need to mess with our tight end room. I think it's fine. We are not... this is important, Badaki, with a team like this to establish this. Players were not moving at all.
Yeah, it's those key guys, obviously. Joe Burrow, Brees Hall, I'm not moving. Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra. I would say those are the guys that I'm not moving.
McBride, too, for me.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to throw McBride in there.
I actually don't mind pivoting off of Burrow, personally. Not that you have to, but I don't mind it. Like, what would you say if like, you could use Joe Burrow in the 108 for Josh Allen in this format? Because I would do that. It's all about those absolute superstars.
I think Joe Burrow is a superstar. I think like he falls within that category, and we just didn't see it last year because of the injury. But I mean, the year before wasn't he like the QB4, QB3, like behind
on a
Josh
per game
Allen?
Basis? Though he's never been anywhere near Josh Allen territory.
Sure, and I would definitely agree because Josh Allen has a rushing upside. So I can see the argument.
In the past 4 years, on a per game basis, you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm listening.
Okay. In the last 4 years, Josh Allen, quarterback 1 on a per game basis, quarterback 1 on a per game basis, quarterback 3 on a per game basis, quarterback 1 on a per game basis. So 3 of the last 4 years, he has been the quarterback 1 in fantasy football on a points per game basis. Joe Burrow in the last 4 years, quarterback 18, quarterback 10, quarterback 4, quarterback 21. So I think the reason I'm saying this, in the SuperFlex League, I'm not panicking on Joe Burrow. I'm not even panicking on him here. But I do think that superstar level of quarterback makes a huge difference in this league. 10-man start 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm okay with it. I'm not opposed to it. I think if you can't get Josh Allen and he can't tier up to, I guess, the upper echelons, then I'm not stressing about it because I think Joe Burrow is there. I think those numbers, like, obviously, 2020, didn't he tear his ACL in 2020? 2021. I think that was his full-on rookie year, and then 2022.
In 2021 and 2022, he played every single game, and he was quarterback 10 and quarterback 4.
Okay. When he tear his ACL?
2020.
Oh, 2020. Yeah. Okay.
Is there any other? I mean, I guess we might be on a different wavelength there, but I guess
no. There's Burrow, I'm not saying I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying, like, I am not straining to try and get that done at any point. If it comes naturally, I'm down.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to, like, make that happen by throwing, like, if you said the 108 plus Joe Burrow for Josh Allen, I don't think I would want to do that. I think I want to keep that 108 and maybe tier up in a different area if I potentially could. If not, I'm okay with that personally.
I would even be willing to add the 205 to get that deal done myself, but obviously that's just something that you and I see differently, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't have to try every deal we talk about. Just good to put every option out there. What other consolidation deal do you have out there you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm looking at the running back position still. Man,
you kind of want to use, like, the 108 in Javonte for something.
Yeah, and I think that is my biggest thing, because if there's one move I want to make is trying to get that other running back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question would be to you, Michael, do you want to go young or old? Because I would even throw Christian McCaffrey in that mix.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I know you probably, if you want to stay young, that's fine. But I think Christian McCaffrey is somebody that I'm willing to have and try and get. But I honestly would only be getting the top 5. Bijan, you have Gibbs, or it's not. You don't have Gibbs. You have Breece Hall, if I'm not mistaken. So Bijan, Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor. Those are the heavy hitter ones that I want to do and try and get out.
You just keep in mind, I know we want to stay young, but Aki's making a great point here. I know you want to stay young. You also want to win a championship. And Christian McCaffrey is going to be the reason you win a championship more than Javonte Williams would. Or adding, like, a wide receiver 4 on your team compared to what you currently have with one of those picks.
Yeah.
108 in Javonte for CMC. You like that deal?
Yeah.
Let's see what Keep Trade Cut says.
Who has Gibbs right now?
Keep Trade Cut says you're getting robbed. They don't think it's a fair deal. We think you're robbing them for a premium player.
Yeah.
That's the difference. We're not built the same, are we?
Yeah. We're not built the same. Michael said Plan was trying to scoop CMC. Guy who has him last ranked viewed him as untouchable. But I think once season gets going, he struggles, I can try and scoop him. I think that's kind of the pathway there.
And Badaki, you would agree, like, you don't have to make any of these moves right now. Like, here, have to do it no matter what. Your team is going to make the playoffs if you don't make a single move right now at all. But if you can go into the playoffs making all these moves to make yourself as strong as possible and still a solid team in Dynasty, I mean, you're probably going to win the championship.
Yeah, I would 100% agree there. And
other ideas?
The only other thing I was thinking about is, can I send like the Dalton Kincaid for a James Cook-ish type of player. I don't know how much you love that.
I'm not in love with it, but... Or are you talking to him? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, in general, like, maybe I'm trying to... I was going to bring, like, Deontay Johnson in, but I think I want to keep him as a flex option, as, like, a... just in case one of those guys goes down. But
I almost feel like Saquon, because he asked about it. Do you think... I feel like Saquon's a better fit for this team than James.
Yeah, Saquon can be. Saquon can definitely be. I guess I put James and Saquon in the same tier if I'm thinking about that. So James, Saquon Barkley, you can even throw Travis Etienne within that tier. I'm happy to do any of those guys personally. I think I'm not trying to... I'm trying not to tear down too far down to where like it gets too off. Like you see like the 108.
What if we used Javonte Williams and we used Nick Chubb and we used, talking about trying to consolidate here, and we used Jerome Ford? Is that who else he has? To try and get one of those names, Saquon or Etienne.
That's the thing. Like, am I willing to trade the 108 for Saquon or Etienne?
I would do Etienne for sure. In a heartbeat, I would do it.
And I think that's what is shaking. I'm shaking in my boots right now because I'm not 100% confident. If I think I would still want that 108. Who
in a one quarterback league, you're competing. You're taking the 108 over Etienne.
Yeah, competing. That's the difficult part.
For me, it's Etienne every day, twice on Sundays.
Twice on Sundays.
Mm-hmm. Even Saquon. Look, if you can package all these names that are like, well, they might help you, they might not. For a guy that you know is going to be a starter, no question, I'd do it.
I'm just thinking of like, yeah, because 108 at the moment, what's the 108? Like, isn't that like the Adonai Mitchells?
Yeah.
Those guys. So like,
Mitchell Worthy, Vincent Brooks.
I'm just thinking of those guys in the second back tier. Like, is it worth trading that 108 if Benson goes to the Cowboys? If Adonai Mitchell goes to, once again, insert one of those elite quarterback plays and you have that depth, I think I would rather tier up to that 108 knowing I will get the CMC of the worlds and know what I'm going to get. Not saying you're not going to know. You don't know what you're getting with, in reality, Saquon next year. The upside's there. Etienne finished RB3, RB4. That's great, but we're hearing the reports that they want to bring in somebody else. How true is that? They said that last year they brought in somebody, didn't work out. So, like that's why I'm thinking about here, and then take my chances with more of the CMC than Saquon and Etienne. I'm a Giants fan. I love Saquon. I'm all about Say. So, just playing devil's advocate.
Think that is a lot of options that you can now go explore. Again, all I care about is consolidation. That's my main goal here. And Michael, we want to leave the floor open to you. What questions do you have for us? Let us know. We'd be happy to answer them. But that is probably all the time that we have today to look at people's teams. Next up on, we'll do 2 streams this week. We got Ford Jake coming up, Zinner 21 coming up, Queasy, Dodge Steel at some point, Bishop. But we'll see if there are any final questions here from Michael. Is there anything you wanted to say, Badaki, that you didn't get a chance to say yet?
No, I think that's good. A lot of options. You use your fantasy hotline. I think that is the biggest thing. Fantasy Hotline is one of the best things that can help. So go to whatever trades comes in, whatever counter offers, use that Fantasy Hotline, and then we'll definitely get you right.
Do you have one more in you, or do you think that's it for tonight? It's already 1 p.m., close to 1 p.m. We haven't eaten yet. What do you think? Let's call that for today.
Yeah, it's not that I don't want to. I do. I think we both have prior engagements already.
Yeah.
Or prior, things kind of set up.
We got to edit some content for you guys this week. Keep it in mind, I got to move on Friday. I got to start packing some ish up. But Aki's going to be solo dolo on that stream. We got to edit this content for y'all.
Yeah.
So, Jake, I'm sorry. We'll probably have to wait till next stream. But I promise you, you are up first in that next stream. And everyone's going to get our best. But we appreciate y'all. Of course, we will say it one last time. If you want what we just did for yourself, if you want to have your team reviewed, become a Motherflocker member with the promo code LAN. Super, super simple. Become a Motherflocker member with the code LAND. And you'll unlock everything you're seeing on your screen right now, including a roster review. But that is it for today. We appreciate you. We'll see you very soon.
Love.
All love.